Were you able to decipher that? If you were a kid born in the 20th century, then chances are you would have panicked upon hearing this message. The signal was expressed using the highly acclaimed and internationally accepted language of Morse code. But what is Morse code? Let's begin with the definition. Morse code is one of the most elegant forms of telecommunication used to encode text as standardized sequences of two distinct signals of different durations. It is very important that we refer to Morse code using this long, tedious, formal definition, since we will learn in the last lecture about its diverse forms and variations. Let's also talk about the history of Morse code. So, Morse code is named after Samuel Morse, but surprisingly, Samuel Morse only developed Morse code for numbers. It was only Alfred Vail who developed Morse code for letters and other special characters. Morse code was used for the first time on 24th May 1844 when the signal was sent from Washington DC to Baltimore. Traditionally, Morse code would only be illustrated by punching in dots and dashes or dits and dars on paper. In this lecture, we will only explore some of the basic properties of the two constituents of Morse code. It is very important that we understand these two basic constituents of Morse code because they truly are the sole foundation of the entire language. So for the first constituent of Morse code is called a dot, which is the shorter signal whose duration is equivalent to the basic unit of time measurement in Morse overall. It plays a very important role because it really dictates and determines how your entire sequence of Morse code will play out. This may seem very weird for a logical and unambiguous language of Morse code because you would think that there should be a specific duration of the dot. But essentially, if we apply this logic to all of our other languages, it would be weird if we start speaking a sentence quickly and end up with the same phrase slowly. So you need to maintain the speed at which you talk. And in Morse code, it is very, very significant that you adhere to this rule and remember the duration of the dot that you have set at the start. The other basic constituent of Morse code is called a dash, and it is equally important to a dot because it gives Morse its diversity. If the dash wasn't there in Morse code, the entire language would be inefficient. It is very important to note that the duration of a dash is thrice the duration of a dot. In the following lectures, we will really learn the key behind encoding text and numbers in Morse code, along with how we can structure the code into sentences and paragraphs. If you're still wondering about the translation of the message I played at the start of the video, you will be able to decode it using the knowledge that will be introduced in the following lecture.